Hey everybody, it's the Doll Boy, and today I'm back with a Winx Club doll reroot. A few weeks ago, I posted my first Winx reroot, which was my Flora doll. And in today's video, I'll be rerooting Musa and styling her according to your votes on my Instagram polls. If you like these types of videos, please give this one a thumbs up already, and be sure to subscribe to my channel because there are many more Winx reroots coming soon. The Musa doll I wanted to use for today's video is this second-hand Mattel version of Musa that has a really pretty face with rooted lashes. What I did notice is that underneath those bangs, she has one very thick strand rooted way in front of the hairline, which made me not want to reroot her, because that would severely limit my styling options for her. That's why I got a second Musa doll that has a great hairline, but no rooted lashes. For my rerooted Winx doll, I do want them to look like a cohesive line once they're all done. And the doll I used for Flora did have lashes. That's why I do want all of my Winx reroots to have rooted lashes. So I am gonna try and give those to Musa as well. This doll did have some red stains on her face that I want to try to remove before taking any other steps on this particular doll, in case I wouldn't be able to remove the stains. For this, I'm taking some warm water and soap and simply dunk the doll's head in my bowl and start rubbing the stains with my hands. That already got the face so clean really quickly, which really surprised me since I do believe that these stains were some red marker or pen. I dipped in the head a couple more times to get it completely clean. And after that, her face was ready to use. Before I committed to rerooting this Musa doll though, I wanted to check if I would even be able to root my own decent looking eyelashes. For this, I was not willing to do it on my Musa doll for my very first try, because she's pretty hard to find where I live. That's why I'm experimenting on this spare Flora doll that I had laying around, and I'm using some short hair wefts that I bought on AliExpress. I decided to use this hair because the hair strands are quite stiff and they keep their shape very well. So I'm pretty confident they'll stay nicely positioned after I style them, and they won't fall down covering the eyes. To keep all the hair nice and stuck together, I wet the hair first, and then take a small section that I wrap around my finger and pick up with my reroot tool. Then I push that into her lash line. I repeat this with more small sections, following the eyeliner on the doll's face, adding the strands very close to each other. I did struggle quite a bit with how short this hair is, so if you want to make life a lot easier for yourself, I do recommend using the longer AliExpress hair and just cutting off more of the length once you're done. After boil washing and cutting the lashes, I was very impressed with the results, so I felt confident enough to do the same thing on Musa after finishing her reroot. That's why I decided to keep this Musa doll natural and cut off all the hair from that other Musa doll as short as I possibly could. I dipped the head into a bowl of boiling water which makes the hair soft enough so I can take it off the body more easily. Honestly, I'm still surprised with these neck bags from the Winx dolls because they are so small. Then I take my pliers that come in the starter pack from TheDollPlanetHair and I scrape the inside of the head really well to pull the leftover hair to the inside of the head. For this particular doll, I did have to use quite a lot of force to get the hair to go to the inside. And because these heads are pretty small, I wasn't able to fit all of the hair on the inside. So I already started taking some of the gunk out by opening the pliers and pulling out the leftover hair from the inside through the neck hole. I also like to dip the head in some water during this process because that helps the hair to stick together better since there is no glue used inside of these Winx heads. As you can see, after getting the hair out of the head, Musa's hairline had some pretty big holes from where her bangs were rooted. What I like to do to close those up a bit more is dipping the head in boiling water once again. This tightens the holes very nicely, making sure that you can use thinner size hair strands all around the hairline. Then when the head is all prepared, I take my Reroot hair, which is the DGHQ nylon hair in Midnight from TheDollPlanetHair. This color is a very nice, deep, dark blue. I'm also adding in black lowlights in the same hair type to darken the entire look just a bit. I think this will look so good together and give me a nice balance between a more realistic look without losing all of the blue tones Musa originally has in her hair. For the Reroot, I want the hairline and part line to be slightly darker and then have highlights of the midnight blue as pops of color throughout the hair. To achieve this, I mix a small section of the midnight blue hair and a similar amount of black hair. I brush these colors together very well, wet it thoroughly, and brush it again until I feel like both colors are blended together super well and I've achieved that really nice blue-black color. When I'm satisfied with my color blend, I start laying out small strands of hair on my table. This helps me to keep a consistent strand size and minimize the hair waste during the process of rerooting the doll. Then I take the Reroot tool that I'm using, which is this really nice tool from the Doll Planet. I take one of the strands of hair, and because this head is so soft and flexible already, it doesn't really hold these hair strands well enough if I would wrap this strand around my finger just once. So what I do for these Winx Reroots is twist the strand around my finger one extra time, then pick it up with my Reroot tool and pull the ends of the hair, creating a little knot on the Reroot tool. I insert that into one of the holes in the head, and that keeps it very nice and secure because you have that small knot on the inside. Now I'm just gonna repeat these steps all over the hairline using that darker color blend that I created. Doing that extra loop around my finger for each section of hair does take me some extra time because it's much harder for me to pick up the hair and neatly create that little knot. However, it is definitely worth it in the end because this just keeps all the hair in place much better during the process. The nice thing about these Winx doll heads is that they are very soft and flexible to begin with, making it super easy to push your Reroot tool in the heads without having to worry about heating up the head. After rooting the entire hairline, I'm gonna start on my part line. I did a poll on my Instagram asking you if Musa should have a middle part or a side part, and 59% of you voted for a middle part. So I'm gonna be able to use her original holes. As you can see, Musa had the full part rooted for her pigtails, but since I'm planning on having the hair mostly down, I am not going to fill that entire part, because I think that would make the hair look very bulky in that area, which is not the look that I'm going for. The method I'm using for her part is the one where I'm using thicker hair strands and root the hair in one row straight from front to back. This way, once you're done rooting your thick row of hair, you can split that into two sections, revealing a very neat part. As I mentioned before, for her parting, I'm also using that blend of midnight blue and black, which creates that darker version of the color. With all the hair added to that parting space, I drag my point comb through it and separate this section into two, giving you this part. Now I'm just gonna fill up the inside with the rest of the blended color I have left over, and I'm also gonna be adding rows of the midnight blue on its own. This will give it a look darker than Musa's original doll, which was exactly what I was going for. However, if you want to get a closer color match to the original doll, I recommend using the midnight blue mixed in with a lot of galactic blue from TheDollPlanetHair, because I feel like that is a very close match to Musa's original hair color. For my specific vision for Musa's doll, this was a little too bright though, so I will be using my black and midnight blue hair to finish the reroot. To fill up the inside, I start by rooting rows of the darker mixture, leaving the rows in between empty, so I can add the midnight blue in those rows later. Now I fill up everything that I left empty with that midnight blue, to brighten up the overall hair color just a bit, and make sure the hair has that really nice blue hue. I finish rerooting everything except for those very front strands, because for those I did want to add some very subtle brighter pieces. To achieve that, I added a very small amount of galactic blue and mixed that with a similar amount of the midnight, and blended that together very well. Since I'm only adding 4 plugs of this brighter color, and it's behind both the hairline and parts, the effect won't be very intense, but it will give me a very subtle pop of color. If you want this brightness to show better, I recommend either using a lot more of the galactic blue or place them in the hairline or part. Once I'm done adding all of the hair, I twisted it out of the way so I can start rooting my lashes. For this, I cut off a section of that AliExpress hair, thoroughly wet it, and cut off some small strands that I can root onto the eyeliner of the doll. I really make sure not to go outside of the outer corner of the eye, and I'm really doing my best to keep both sides somewhat even in both the width of the lashes as well as the fullness. Then when I'm happy with the eyelashes I did, I give them a rough trim to make them look like this. Once the lashes are in, I go ahead and take my Fabri-Tac glue and add glue to the inside of the head by inserting the glue bottle through the neck hole. This sets the hair and eyelashes in place very well. I also move around a Q-tip on the inside of the head to make sure all the glue is evenly distributed and both the hair and lashes are covered. After letting that dry overnight, I can finally put this head back to her body. I already redressed the doll in an LOL OMG Downtown BB shirt and some Bratz jeans. These pieces don't fit the Winx body perfectly, so I simply tied them in the back with an elastic band. One tip I did want to share for redressing these Winx bodies is taking some saran wrap or a piece of a sandwich bag and wrap that around the hands tightly. This allows you to slide on shirts pretty easily around their strangely shaped hands. Then getting the head back on the body was quite a struggle for me. And as you can see, I moved the head at a bit of an angle, which really helped me. I also did an Instagram poll asking if I should give Musa bangs or not. And a lot of you actually made me regret ever posting this poll, because you know how I feel about dolls with bangs. However, I was up for a challenge, so I wanted to give Musa some thin, wispy bangs. To achieve this, I'm sectioning off a small portion at the hairline that I'm gonna pull to the front. Here you can see how I'm gonna hold the hair while boil washing it, with the sides going down, holding that part very neat, and the front goes straight down in between the eyelashes, so I can keep the bangs going down and the lashes going up. I start with pouring boiling water over the face and pushing the eyelashes upwards to the position I want them to stay in. Then I fill up my bowl and dip in the doll's head in the hot water while keeping the hair tight. I once again press the eyelashes up to make sure they're not gonna hang over her eyes. Then I'm doing my first rough chop for the bangs, which I like to keep pretty long at first. To get a better idea of how the bangs are gonna look, I also cut the eyelashes to the desired length. You can see that I'm trying to cut them at a slight angle to make them a bit longer towards the outer corners of the eyes. After doing that, I go back in and trim up the bangs until I'm happy with the length. I also make sure to point cut them to give them more of that feathered, messy look. To make sure I really set these bangs in place, I tie a strip of fabric around the head, holding the bangs down. With this step, you do want to be really careful of your rooted lashes, so you don't flatten those too. Then after this, I dip the rest of the hair in the water, because that has been able to cool off a little bit now. And with nylon hair, I don't like to dip the ends in boiling hot water, because that sometimes ruins the hair. For the rest of Musa's look, I asked you if you wanted me to cut it short or keep it long, and thankfully most of you voted for long hair, which I'm obviously very happy with. So I'm gonna keep it very long, close to floor length, and just cut it all off in a very straight cut that I did perfect off camera. In the future I might try and give her some face framing layers, but for now I wanted to keep it very blunt, so it would also look good in her iconic ponytails. For my final poll, I asked you if you wanted her hair to be straight or curled, and this was such a close call that I decided to give you both this wavy fairy look and a super straight modern look. I really hope you liked this Musa makeover. If you did, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more doll videos like this one. Let me know in the comments below which Winx doll I should reroot next, and follow me on Instagram @TheDollBoy to see more of my doll photography. See you next time!